Ciao y'all, NaturallyKenya here and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about why I absolutely love living in Italy and why basically this country has ruined my life. For the good, rather. And some of them more tailored towards Rome because that is where I'm living now. If you manage your expectations, you are certain to have a wonderful time living abroad in Italy. Just be realistic. Italy has its faults like any other country in the world. So if you're new here, my name is Kenya. Yes, like the country, and I'm an American girl living life abroad in Rome, Italy, documenting my experiences and sharing them with all of you. From tips on how to make your transition abroad a bit easier, to food and drink recommendations in the city. These are pretty much everything I'm gonna be sharing with you guys on my channel. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload, and let's get into the video. First, I wanted to touch on one aspect, and that is the nature. In Italy, there is such a large variety of landscapes. It's actually absurd. If you want to go to the mountains for a hike, you have that. If you want to go skiing, you have the Dolomites. If you want to go to the beach, you have your choice. Which coast, where, an island, which region. You have such a large choice depending on your nature preferences. Now, moving on to the beach. Okay, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the beach. Don't judge me. Something about the sand and the texture, it just doesn't sit right with my soul. But of course, you have all these connections to the sea, so you definitely won't be missing out there. I prefer to be at a restaurant overlooking the sea and not necessarily on the beach, but you'll see me there occasionally. Let's discuss the climate / weather in Italy. More specifically, Rome. It is a Mediterranean climate. I personally feel like it's one of the best in Europe. It's very similar to Greece. There are 4 proper seasons. Generally, every day, the weather is pretty pleasant. I personally believe that this is one of the most important aspects when you are considering moving abroad, because I really feel like the weather influences your mood a lot. I personally remember when I studied abroad in Stockholm many years ago, and it was dark and cloudy and rainy pretty much all the time, and I honestly think I was depressed. Now that I look back on it, like, I was inside a lot and definitely did not get enough vitamin D. But don't worry, if you are in Italy, you will not be lacking out on your vitamin dose straight from the sun, not from, you know, vitamin D pills. Moving on, you have the fashion, not the fashion, the fashion, okay? There is no secret that Milan is the fashion capital of the world. With its fashion week, models, and basically all of the major fashion houses in the world, like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Valentino. Do I really need to continue? Do I really need to continue? Pretty sure we know them all. Italians really do value putting on a good outfit, hitting the streets with their friends, so make sure you have that same style and energy when you come to Italy. So I encourage you all to invest in some good quality staple pieces for your wardrobe, because you will be wearing them almost every day here. Now, moving on to the cost of living. The cost of living in Italy is generally lower when you compare it to the major cities in the US. Just a quick comparison in general, because I like numbers, I like statistics, it's just the engineer in me. It's just the engineer in me. Rome is 22% cheaper than Singapore, 25% cheaper than Los Angeles. It's about 38% cheaper than New York City, Zurich in Switzerland, and London. Now, it is a little bit cheaper than Milan, so about 6% cheaper. And just because I'm from Texas, I wanted to do the comparison with Houston, Texas to Rome, and actually they're the same costs on average. So a major city, I wouldn't necessarily say going in expecting a huge savings in the cost of living, but you can expect to pay more or less the same if you're coming from a place like Houston. Obviously, in the bigger and more touristic cities, the rents will be a bit higher, like the Romes and Milans, but if you go to southern Italy, you'll definitely be able to find a deal. It'll be much cheaper to live. Now, moving on to the obvious, the food. One of my favorites. You can find affordable organic fruit and vegetables at the supermarket as well as the market, and they are not absurdly overpriced like I have seen in the United States of America. Obviously, you have cheap and delicious coffee, but I'm not really, is coffee a food or a drink? It comes from coffee beans. Is that a food? Actually, that's a really good question. And obviously, the pasta, pizza, gelato craze, it is real, it is true, it is delicious. But the good thing is the pasta can be made with really simple ingredients. So it's really easy to just make a good pasta with olive oil, tomatoes, and that's it. Delicious, simple, wonderful. Eating here is just so simple and fresh. You can count the number of ingredients in one dish on one hand. Oh, the magic. And one of the most wonderful things in Italy is that each region has their own traditional plates of food that you can't miss out on. If you go between the regions, you definitely have to try specific dishes for specific regions. Now, wine is another pro I'm putting on the list. This is no surprise either, along with the food, but Italy is one of the top wine producers in the world. But it's the price of the wonderful wine for me. You can seriously get a bottle of delicious, well-rated wine for about 10 euros, so $12, and sometimes even cheaper. Compared to the US, I did notice this huge price difference that I didn't really acknowledge before. When I went back to visit my family, I was like, wow, this wine is absurdly overpriced. But of course, when the wine does arrive to the US, it is imported and subject to those taxes and tariffs. So of course that's built into the price. Also probably the exchange rate is built in as well. So we have to consider that too. And you'll definitely notice this difference at the restaurant. As long as you're not like me, because I have a quick story, just a quick one. During my first year in Italy when I had arrived, new, fresh-eyed, new to the world of Italian wines, just really directly having a menu of 200 different choices, I decided to go out to aperitivo or Italian happy hour with my friends. And usually when you walk into some of these places, they have like a board, like a chalkboard or something with the wines of the day as well as the price per glass and bottle. And I actually sat with my friends on the opposite side of the wall, so I couldn't really see it. It was in a totally different room, but connected to the main central area where you basically entered the place. And the waitress started running down the wines. We have this, we have that. And I didn't ask her the price because I'm thinking, please, all these wines cost, 5 euros a glass, 6 euros a glass. What harm can it do? Yeah, I chose a Barolo and we went to get the bill at the end of the night. And I see it printed and I see 5 euros, 6 euros, and I see something for 15 euros. And I'm like, what is this 15 euros? We didn't get a bottle. She said, oh, that was your glass of wine. I said, what? I essentially ordered a glass of wine for 15 euros. I didn't even know what it was. It was Barolo. Now I know. I won't make that mistake again. Yeah, you live and you learn, but come on. I was like, come on, Kenya, this is ridiculous. To be honest, I could not notice the difference. It tasted like a typical red wine glass, and I drank it just as fast as I drink any other glasses, so I was completely shocked that I paid 15 euros for something that lasted me like 30, 45 minutes. Won't do that again. Anyway, back on subject, let's move on to the architecture, one of the pros of living in Italy. You're always surrounded by incredible cultural heritage. It is literally an open air museum. With the greatest artistic history in the world, it is impossible to explore everything. Did you know there are over 900 churches in Rome? 900 just in Rome. So it's impossible to explore everything. Everywhere you walk, it is just evident that Italy has this wonderful historic past, and it kind of just swallows you whole. One thing that I absolutely love about being in Rome is that you do have this sense of an expat community, and you are able to network with other international people that are in the same boat as you. You definitely won't be alone, but it will take you a bit of time to make new friends in the city, especially with Italians, because you do generally need a base in the language before you make those connections. But if you frequent the same places for coffee or lunch, you'll be able to make those connections a little bit easier when people start recognizing your face and connecting you to living in the new neighborhood, and that's how you basically open the door to a lot of new friendships. Another pro and advantage of living in Italy has to do with the healthcare. Now, if you haven't seen my previous video on the cost of living in Rome, I'll link it here as well as listed in the description box below. And this is basically where I describe the healthcare system a bit more in detail. Not gonna go there in this video, in Italy, and basically stressing to you all that healthcare in Italy is a fundamental right. And I think that's so important to stress. Especially when, coming from the US, things are run a little bit differently there. The healthcare system is almost entirely free. And by registering with the Italian healthcare system, you have the same rights like the Italians do. With an average life expectancy here of about 83, 84 years old, clearly they're doing something right compared to the US average of 77, 78. Just saying, the Italians are doing it better here. And although the healthcare system is really great, I do suggest getting a private healthcare insurance plan as well if you can, just in case. Those are all of the major points I wanted to mention in this video. Why Italy exactly ruined my life and the pros I feel every day while living in this wonderful, beautiful country. So stay tuned because I'm actually going to put out a video on why I don't like Italy, the cons of living here, and why it actually did ruin my life, even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there. So make sure to stay tuned for that video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload. Like this video for sure if you like this content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao, y'all.